What's going on, YouTube? This is BoxingWave. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I want to do a little video about Bruce Vane and Ibfp. They've been going back and forth on YouTube the last couple days over Demetrius Andrade and Canelo Alvarez. All right. The only reason why I'm making the video is because I have a lot of interest in the topic at hand because I like Demetrius Andrade and I really want him to get an opportunity to fight Canelo Alvarez. I really want that. All right. So I do have a lot of interest in this topic. I've talked about this topic on this channel for years. You know, I got videos back in 2014, 2015 talking about Andrade at 154 and Canelo at 154 and the WBO title and all that stuff. I had videos back then about it. So I've been talking about this for a long time and I still haven't been able to see that fight. I wish the fight would happen, but the other reason is I respect both channels. Okay, I would never bring up other channels on my channel unless I respected them. You know, there's a lot of channels I dislike and I would never bring them up. You know, no matter what people say in the comments, I would never say anything negative about them on camera because it's just not my style. You know, people that I don't like deserve to even be mentioned to me, you know. That's just how I feel about it. But I respect the two, and I've been following the both of them for some time now, and I know how they feel about each fighter. Now, the thing is, both are Canelo supporters. Both of these channels are Canelo supporters. In fact, both channels are Demetrius Andrade supporters because I've heard both channels address both fighters in a positive light most of the time. The difference in the two is that when it comes to Demetrius Andrade, this is where they disagree because they're both more on the extreme end to these fighters. All right. I've heard Ibfp give respect to Andrade. It's just that he doesn't like when people say that Canelo is ducking Andrade. And then you got Bruce Vane on the other hand that is in much support of Canelo, but he feels that Canelo is ducking Andrade. Now, both of these channels, very aggressive, very animated. I listen to them all the time. So when they disagree with somebody, shit hits the fan. And that's what's happening right now. I hope they both calm down. And I think they will eventually because they have too much of the same fan base. All right. They have many of the same subscribers. So hopefully they can just talk it out. You know, I heard them say stuff like they have each other's, you know, they're in group chats together. So they can talk it out, whatever. They're grown men. I'm not here to play peacemaker or nothing like that. All right. But at the end of the day, I do respect both channels. And Ibfp, I know he's been inviting me to the live stream. It's just every time I listen to him, I'm at work. I'm usually listening to him while I'm out, maybe driving around. And if he goes live, then I'll listen to him. I'll leave some comments. But I haven't been able to join the live stream because usually I'm not usually free. I'm not usually as active. I don't put out as much content as him or Bruce because I just can't. You know, sometimes I could go a week or a couple of weeks without putting out content. All right, but I would love to talk to Ibfp too on his channel. If you know, so at some point when he's doing a live stream, I'll jump on there when I am free. All right, so let's talk about this. All right, this is the deal. Andrade, when it comes to Ibfp, he is saying facts, and that's what I like about him. He just sticks to the facts. He doesn't care about our opinions on certain things. Bruce is more like trying to bring up points where it's his views on it. All right. And I agree with both because facts doesn't always tell the whole story. I know facts and resume can tell the story, but it doesn't always tell the whole story. All right. When it comes to what's being reported, what's in resumes and what's showing up on resumes, stuff like that, wins, losses, all that stuff. All right. So I agree a little bit with both sides. When it comes to Andrade being ducked by Canelo, I can't say that. I can't say that, Bruce. I can't say that he's ducking Andrade. You know, you don't fight Sergey Kovalev at 175 in order to duck Andrade. I see how people can view that, because me personally, as far as styles and youth and freshness, I think Andrade would be a better matchup. Okay, because we already saw what happened with the Kovalev fight. So I understand where Bruce is coming from, because you got a southpaw here. He's fresh. He's undefeated. He's going on a good run. All right. And, stylistically, I just think Andrade is the better matchup. But that's just my opinion. I can't prove that. That's not facts. The fact of the matter is, Canelo went up 2 divisions to fight probably a future Hall of Famer in Sergey Kovalev, a guy that just beat Anthony Yard, an undefeated Anthony Yard at 175, a former pound for pound fighter, top 5. I've said this when I used to do pound for pound videos. There was a period where Kovalev was a top 5 pound for pound fighter. Maybe not right now, but coming off of a knockout win against Anthony Yard at his age is very, very respectful, very, very good career win. Now a lot of people still say that they feel the time was awkward. A lot of people, including myself, felt that Kovalev just didn't look strong in that fight. He didn't. We know the crusher. We know how he's looked, even with changing with Buddy McGirt and everything. I said, like, look, Kovalev just didn't look strong that night. He was boxing well, but he didn't look strong. But that's just me. Maybe it was Canelo that was wearing him down, pressuring him. Maybe it was just too soon for him. I have no idea. But what we know is, the fact of the matter is, Canelo won that fight. Canelo knocked him out. And not only that, I picked Sergey Kovalev to win that fight. I thought it was just too risky for Canelo. I thought he was biting off a little bit more than he can chew. So I respect Canelo for taking the fight. Some people say that because Andrade was the WBO champ and Canelo held 3 titles after beating Triple G in a rematch. People say that Canelo ducked Andrade and could have been undisputed. But that's not necessarily true. All right, because we do know that at that moment, like last fall, there was a whole bunch of stuff going on with pretty much every sanctioning body, almost. The WBC, you had Charlo, all right? He was up there in rank. He's #1 guy. You had Deverenchenko, who was an IBF mandatory, all right? You also had Demetrius Andrade, who held a WBO strap. So it was a lot of pressure on Canelo. He could only fight one guy. And when you're holding 3 titles, we all know it's hard to hold 3 titles for a long period of time, because you have mandatories, you have other obligations that you have to do. Plus, there's big fights that you want to have, like the Triple G rematch was a big fight. We have business. At the end of the day, the zone is going to want certain fights. They want a 3rd Triple G fight. All right, so listen, Andrade didn't happen, and if it did happen, it wasn't going to be an undisputed fight to begin with, because Andrade, Canelo was going to get stripped regardless. He was going to get stripped. He was going to get stripped. Now, could they have worked something out in order to try to, say, hey, this is a unification? I don't know. When it comes to IBF, I know they're actually really strict. They're the most strict out of the 4 major sanctioning bodies. So maybe they weren't buying it. And Triple G and Deverenchenko went to fight for that title. All right, and then it actually caused some kind of friction between Oscar and Canelo Alvarez. All right, because they are, as far as in public, they are not speaking and stuff like that. And whenever Oscar was asked about the situation, he looked very uncomfortable in these interviews. Whenever they're promoting a fight, when asked about his relationship with Canelo, he clearly looks very uncomfortable. Could it all be an act? Yeah, it's possible. I wouldn't put anything past Oscar De La Hoya, but you know, there might be some truth to it. All right. So yeah, when it comes to that ducking, I can't say he ducked him because historically, the Sergey Kovalev win is going to look better on resumes of the resume of Canelo Alvarez. Not only did he go up and fight and win a title, a major title in another division, but he fought a name, he fought a future Hall of Famer. It's going to look better on his resume. All right? Just like Amir Khan's name looked better on your resume, like down the line. You know, right now it's easy for me. He should have fought Demetrius Andrade at the time. I wish he did. But at the time, it's like, this is a pay-per-view fight. I think the numbers were like around 800K or something like that. I mean, I remember casual fans that I know, that I'm friends with, were excited for that fight because it was just Amir Khan. You know, maybe his name is not as much now. It's not as important as it was, you know, as it was for Terrence Crawford by the time he got to him. But at that time, Amir Khan still had a name because even though he lost to Danny Garcia, even though he's been knocked out by not Regis Prescott, at the time it meant more. All right, he had a few good wins at 147, and it meant more at that time. All right, so these fighters are not going to always move in a way that I want them to move. But in response to IBFP, we can't just always base it on facts. Because Demetrius Andrade, if we just go by the resume, that he doesn't have a great resume. I mean, obviously Kovalev, guys like Daniel Jacobs, you know, guys like, you know, these guys are always going to have a better resume and stuff. No one is going to fight Andrade, and everyone is going to say the same excuse, that he doesn't have a resume. And as long as no one gets a shot, gives him a shot, even as a champion, we could keep saying that same excuse. I mean, even Jamal Charlo was saying it. I mean, Triple G and his team for years have said that they did not want to fight Andrade. Right? Abel Sanchez is on video saying that. Look it up. Abel Sanchez never wanted to give Demetrius Andrade a shot to fight Triple G. You know, Canelo didn't want to fight him. He hasn't fought him, but he's fought good people. Cool. Jamal Charlo doesn't even want to fight him. What's his excuse? He really doesn't have one. So, what is a guy supposed to do? He is a boogeyman. And that's where I agree with Bruce. Because the guy is a boogeyman. Because he can win a title and people still don't want to fight him. He had a title at 154. No one was trying to fight him when he was a title holder at 154. But Canelo was fine with fighting Liam Smith when he got the WBO title at 154. Now, I understand. Listen, we go back to Canelo, and who was he facing at that time? You know, he was fighting the Khans of the world. He was fighting the Laras of the world. You know, who was Demetrius Andrade really fighting at that time? He fought, who did he fight? Ronis Monterosian. You know, eventually at some point he fought Willie Nelson before moving up to 160, all right? All right, he wasn't fighting the very, very best. But he would have fought some of the better fighters if given the opportunity. I mean, even while with Hearn and DAZN and Matchroom, he's still not getting an opportunity. He's been turned down by everybody. He could have fought Billy Joe Saunders, but Billy Joe Saunders tested dirty. So even though when it comes to facts states that, yeah, on his resume, there's no one there. But you got to also look at the picture. All these guys from Saunders, Triple G, Canelo, Jamal Charlo, none of these guys have tried to make a fight with Demetrius Andrade. None. Saunders cheated, moved up in weight. Canelo's fighting him though. What did he do at 168 to get a fight, a title fight? People keep bringing up weight. You think Andrade wouldn't move up to fight Canelo Alvarez? They could do it at a catch weight. Canelo doesn't have to come back down to 160. But Canelo wanted to, he could. Now, it's his choice. He's the man. But how many times are we going to say that this guy doesn't have a resume when he doesn't have a resume because no one wants to fight him? And not everybody's going to have the same opportunities. Andrade was with a smaller promoter before he got with Eddie. He's with Star Boxing. You know, he just couldn't get the opportunities, man. They were trying to make fights with him. He just couldn't get it. Then he got into a whole mix-up with Showtime and Rock Nation. You know, there was a whole bunch of stuff with that going on at the same time. I mean, it happens. He's just one of those fighters that got caught up with a promoter, trying to stay loyal to the promoter, and got caught up in the mix. And it's not until he got with Hearn where better opportunities have come for him. I mean, they're not the absolute best guys at 160. But, I mean, outside of the very, very top superstars, he's been getting decent fights, you know? He's going to be fighting Liam Williams next, which is a good fight. I mean, on as far as his name, yeah, he doesn't have the name like that, but he's a good fighter. He just knocked out Alantez Fox, you know? So, it is a good fight. And he's doing what he has to do with what he has. But not everybody's going to have the opportunities like a Triple G or Canelo. Not everybody's going to have opportunities like a Daniel Jacobs. You know? Not everybody's going to have that. Daniel Jacobs doesn't even want to fight Demetrius Andrade. They're both saying that they're buddies and stuff. But, I don't know. You know, I've talked about that too. I was like, hey, man, I know you guys are buddies, but Andrade needs that fight more than Jacobs. Jacobs is still getting good fights because he has a name, But anyway, yeah, man. We talk facts, but there's an asterisk to a lot of Canelo's wins because people feel the judges are in the pockets, I mean, even there was a judge that thought that fight with Floyd was a draw. Even if you're a big Canelo supporter, you can at least admit, like, yo, that fight was not a draw. Okay, I know Lara fight, there's a lot of people that felt like Lara got robbed. I mean, when it comes to facts is Canelo won the fight because he got the win. There's a lot of people feel like Triple G won both fights. I thought Triple G definitely won the first fight. I thought the second one was debatable. I think Triple G edged it, but first viewing, I thought Canelo edged it. So I'm a little bit in between. I would have settled for a draw, but I think the first fight was definitely a win for Canelo. I mean, look, we had Wilder and Fury. When we're talking facts, the fact is that fight was a draw. If we're going to talk facts. But most people think Fury won the fight and got robbed. I got called a fanboy for saying that Wilder won 4 rounds. I think he won 2 additional rounds outside of the rounds he scored knockdowns in. Which still a win for Fury. But I got called a fanboy. Some dude called me a fanboy for saying that. A Wilder fanboy. He know that I'm not a Wilder fanboy. So, yeah, man. Listen, we're going to talk facts, but we're boxing fans. At the end of the day, we're still fans. And we're going to have our own biases. It's impossible to never be biased. It's impossible to not show emotion. Okay? Now, I think when it comes to showing emotion, I think let's not get out of line with it. All right? We can still keep it very respectful and everything, but we all have biases. There's no way you're always going to be looking at everything as a boxing fan in a logical standpoint. That's just not the way boxing fans are built. We're not built that way. But I think when it comes to this argument here, I think you can make a good case on both ends. All right, it's just about what you like in the scenario here. The scenario here is Canelo Alvarez. Those people he's fought, They're good fighters. Now, Rocky Fielding, that's the one guy. That's the one fight that I can sit here and say, all right, what the hell was that fight for? And, you know, you're allowed to have tune-ups. All right, you're allowed to have stay busy fights in between. So I understand that with Canelo, but at the same time, you are the highest grossing boxer in the sport, you and AJ. Guys like Rocky Fielding is just a little too low, a little too beneath Canelo, in my opinion. You could have snuck in a decent fight in between that time. I think Rocky Fielding, all he had was size. All right, that's what Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. had, was size and size alone. Why did he have that fight? Because he had a Demetrius Andrade fight in between that time? Is it possible? Yeah. You know? So, you know, we can always say that fighters can do a little bit more, but fighters are not going to always face who we want to see them fight. It's just, it is what it is. Manny Pacquiao might fight Mikey Garcia next. Do we absolutely want to see that fight? No, you might want Bud, or you might want Crawford, or not Bud, Spence. You know, we might want fights like that, but we're not going to always get what we want. But I think when we just say facts in every situation, it could be kind of extremist sometimes. But when you say that a fighter is completely ducking someone, like Canelo is doing everything in his power to avoid this guy, that could come off a little bit extreme too. And I saw the comparisons to Terrence Bud Crawford, and I agree with a lot of those apparent comparisons that Bruce said. I agree with a lot of things that he said. Terrence Crawford, the same situation. I mean, he moved up in weight. He got a belt. All of these fighters wanted him to get a belt. Let's see what he does with Jeff Horn. Well, he did that. And as soon as he did that, well, he just beat Jeff Horn. Well, you know, all the guys that criticize Terrence Crawford, what do they say? Well, he's only beating Jeff Horn. He didn't fight no real welterweights. Well, if you don't give him the opportunity to fight anyone, how is he going to have a better resume as a welterweight if no one wants to fight him? You know, it's the same way Andrade. I'm like, if you give him the opportunity, maybe he could showcase his talent. But if you don't even give the man the opportunity, he's never going to show the case of talent. And that's the same with Bud, because none of the PBC fighters want to fight him. And his fans, Spence's fans or PBC fans, they're just saying, well, he should have never signed with Bob Arum. But a lot of people that are going with that narrative is more just basing it on the racial aspect of him being signed to Bob Arum. And that's what they're looking at. They're not looking at anything else but that. You're with Bob Arum? Oh, look, that's your choice. If you're with Eddie Hearn? Oh, that's your choice. Shouldn't have signed with them. All right, so look. Great channels. I would love to see the fight. And maybe we will see the fight. And maybe Andrade is overrated. Maybe Canelo gets in there and knock him out. I mean, listen, I think the styles match up well, but Canelo has done better in certain fights and has surprised me at moments. Back then, I was making videos about him fighting Andrade. Or not Andrade. Well, I was making videos about Andrade, but I was making videos about Lara. Because Lara was a boogeyman at one point. You know, he was a boogeyman at 154, even at 160 when he was calling guys out at 160. I'll go up and fight Triple G. You know? Instead, Triple G settled for Willie Monroe, who is a good fighter as well. But, you know, I think the majority of us agreed that Lara was a better fighter. Similar styles, but Lara was better at it. More dangerous. But Canelo fought him. And even though I still think Lara won the fight, I can respect the adjustments that Canelo made in that fight in order to pull off the win. All right. So anyway, listen, I think I addressed most issues here. Great channels, again, much respect. IBFP, I'm willing to talk about it too. We can discuss this. I mean, you guys know my thoughts on this anyway. I basically just said it. But IBFP, much respect. Bruce Vane, much respect too. I think you guys will just hash it out and move on and get over it. Most of you guys usually agree 90% of the time, which is crazy that there's like a beef with it. But listen, it brings more viewers. It's more entertainment. People love this shit. That's what people love, controversy. That's how YouTube is. Uh, but IBFP, I'll be around on the channel. I'll try to jump in one of your live streams, man, when I'm around, and we could discuss it further on there. Even though I know how you feel about it, I can't argue factuals. All right. But what I could say is like, look, not everything is just based on, hard facts. This is boxing at the end of the day. We do get some funny business that goes on in the sport. We can't just ignore those things. We can't ignore the fact that a lot of promoters and fighters are very calculated on what they do, who they choose to fight in certain periods of time. I'm not saying that they're doing that with Andrade, but what I am saying is that we can't just ignore certain things, you know. But I do believe that Sergey Kovalev and Daniel Jacobs fighting them both in 1 year in the same year is very, very respected. I can't get mad at him not taking the Andrade fight. I'm not even mad at him taking a Billy Joe Saunders fight. I think Andre deserves it more because, this is a guy that's staying clean. He's still undefeated. He hasn't made any excuses or anything in recent years. I think he's been doing his thing. So I wish he got the opportunity over Billy Joe Saunders. But I do believe that Saunders is at a guy, is guys that's at 168 that has a title at 168. A real title, a major title, not the one that Canelo won from from Rocky Fielding. And I think Billy Joe Saunders is a better opponent than some of the other champs at 168. So I can't get mad at that neither. All right? All right, I'm out, man. Make sure you guys subscribe again. Peace.